You said after the West Ham game you didn't want to hide behind the fact that you don't have any fit forwards at the moment. But today, did we see that being the reason why you couldn't get the win you needed?
Same as before. It's what we have, and we look forward to work with what we have. That's it. The rest, we don't have it. There's nothing to do with that.
You said before the game that over your dead body you'd give up on the title race. Having dropped more points today, you still stand by that?
Absolutely, yeah.
So until it's mathematically impossible, you still think you're in this title race?
When I try to win our football games, before it was the same a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 months ago. The only thing we can do is win our football matches and see how many points we can.
And just finally, normally coming to a team that's third in the table, a point would be a good result, but at the moment it doesn't feel good enough?
No, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel. We're here to win.
Arne, a different bird's eye view today. Did you like what you saw from up there?
Yes, I did. Although there were things to improve as well. I think we were sometimes, I don't think it's concentration, but maybe it was because it was our fifth game in 15 days that I saw a few times, us struggling a little bit with the ball that I'm not used from the players, but they were great after so many games. Was incredible, not only from the ones who started, also the ones that came in. So again, not only a very good team performance, but a very good squad performance.
Dominic Szoboszlai, first time he scored in back-to-back Premier League games. In this tight period of time, has he almost thrived in the most difficult part of the season?
I think he's been very, very important for us the whole season. Not always this was seen, but again today maybe people talk about his goal, which they should, because it was an important goal and a good goal. But I think what helped the team even more than him scoring a goal was the amount of times he wins the second ball, he wins the ball back for us, he runs for two players. So it's that probably deserves even more credit than him scoring a goal. But it's nice that he starts to scoring goals as well, because that in the end is also what you need to do if you are an attacking midfielder that wears the Liverpool shirt.
That is 11 points from a possible 15 in this tight period of time. What have you liked, or potentially what have you learnt about the squad that you have in this period?
No, many things I've liked, because after Everton, after Villa and the Wolves game wasn't an easy win as well. People started to doubt some things about our game. But we reacted so well against City, and then all of a sudden everybody was very positive again. And sometimes what you then see is that players like, now we are all of a sudden really good. And they don't do the same effort anymore as they did before. So for all the mental challenges we had, so people questioning us, and then everybody really positive, but players just kept calm and did the things that they have to do, and that is making it as hard as possible for the other team to play against us. And then eventually, normally or most of the times, our quality then makes the difference.
You are 13 points clear at the top. At what point do you start to see the light of this very long Premier League season, thinking, we might do this?
No, it's still a long way to go, 10 games. And now in the month March, I think we only play one Premier League game. And we have the final, of course, international break, and two very important games against Paris Saint-Germain. So we're not focused on the long term. I know, and the players that watch the French league as well, they know how difficult of a game Paris Saint-Germain will be, because they are in probably the same form as we are, hardly lose, win their games by big margins, lead the league as well by margin. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult task for both teams. And now I think the players have 2 days off, so Saturday we go back and focus on Paris Saint-Germain more than we focus on the league table in the Premier League.
Yeah, does it feel like a luxury to actually give them 2 days off and have 7 days before your next game?
Yeah, that's true. Although I would have loved to play, because the likes of Harvey Elliott, Joel Kwanzaa, Federico Chiesa, for them it would have been really good to have a game. So unfortunately we lost against Plymouth, so that means we have the weekend off, which is for Virgil and for Mo and these players very good. So if we would have went to the next round of the FA Cup, we again wouldn't have started them. But yeah, the situation is as it is. We accept it, and we train Saturday and then focus on the Wednesday game.
And look, just last question. Mentally, what do you think tonight might have done for your players when you have to face Newcastle again in a neutral ground for a trophy?
I don't think that means so much, because I saw a different Newcastle tonight than I saw a few months ago when we played them there. I don't know if that's for a reason, but normally I see them pressing 4-5-1, and now they press 4-4-2. So maybe they wanted to do things a bit differently. They rested, or he's injured, I don't know. But Isaac wasn't there. Joe Linton wasn't there. So I think we can expect something different in a few weeks. But probably we are rested a bit better than we were in our 5th game in 15 days.
Arne, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, he's talking about the schedule there, Michael. I mean, a situation where you're 13 points clear in the Premier League, you've got to play Paris Saint-Germain home and away, and yet you've got a week to prepare and you can give the players 2 days off.
Oh, it's dreamland stuff, isn't it? At this stage of the season, to be able to absolutely prepare this team however you want. One Premier League game in March.
Against the bottom club.
Or is there 2? But anyway, it's a quiet month in terms of the Premier League, so they can really start focusing now on, getting through the Champions League
and winning a trophy.
Getting that first trophy on the board for Arne Slot. So yeah, it's just a dream position to be in, and they can have a little bit of time, a little bit of a rest, a couple of days, I think he said there, before they really focus. Got a nice long week to prepare for Paris Saint-Germain, and that's a tough game, but away first. I think that really helps Liverpool. With all the teams in Europe, no one wants to go away to Liverpool in the second leg. We saw it with Barcelona a few years. Even if you're winning 3-0 and you're one of the best teams in the world, you come into Anfield. It's not easy at all. So it's a tough draw, but it's a good draw, especially playing at home second. And for Liverpool fans, it can't get much better at the moment.
No. Could well be a Premier League medal in their cabinet very shortly indeed. Remember, 30 points left to play for. They only need 21 of those 30 to guarantee being Premier League champions. They're 13 points clear of Arsenal, who only have one game in hand, and Arsenal are the only team to have got a 13-point deficit clawed back in 97-98. The big difference, though, that season they had 19 games left to play, and here they only have 11. This would take the most extraordinary of stories to turn around.
Yeah, it would. It's, lots of people a week or so thought it was all over. I thought it was probably, but after tonight, it's another nail in Arsenal's coffin, really. Liverpool just look unbeatable, especially at home, and they've got the majority of their games at home. 6 out of the 10 at home. Their run-in isn't the hardest. They've obviously got to play Arsenal, but apart from that, I think their run-in is doable. So I think it is. I think it's pretty much over now. You look at Liverpool's run-in there. Southampton at home, they could possibly beat them with their eyes closed at the moment, the way they're playing and the way Southampton are playing as well. Everton, the derby, that might be a toughie. Obviously, the way Everton are playing, but
on the other side of the screen, Arsenal have to win every single one of those games as well, and you're looking for drop points for Liverpool when they've only lost one game all season.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle. As you say, the fixtures that Arsenal have are much more difficult as well. I don't know, I think Arsenal just lost their spark as well. In previous seasons, they've been running Man City so close right up to the last couple of games of the season and having a great title race, but they've just dropped off, Stephen. And again, it's the obvious one for me. I think they need someone who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Michael knows better than me about that. They need someone they can depend on. I thought even in January they could have got someone. I know Watkins was a late shout, but they could have got someone even on loan just to give them a different option, off the bench or whatever. I know we didn't know then Havertz was going to get injured. But at the same time, they were too easy to play against or too easy to defend against. Sometimes you need an option B or something different just to mix it up. And as you say, that points deficit, the gap's way too big now. I think it's a done deal. I mean, Arne Slot won't be saying that to his players. The next game's important, it's huge, and what have you. But for us, I think it's their title, isn't it?
Yeah, and the real momentum, you could hear it as well as see it tonight. Like I say, I use the word machine. They are, aren't they? Particularly at home.
Yeah, everything's gone right, hasn't it? This season, you look at the questions that we had at the start of the season. Obviously, Klopp leaving. And Arne Slot coming in. We didn't know much about Arne Slot. But the one constant they had was the players. There was hardly any, movement. Chiesa came in. He's hardly kicked a ball. but there was no incomings, no outgoings. The only real change was Gravenberch came in and played in that number 6 role. We weren't sure how that was going to develop. As it happens, he's been an absolute masterstroke. He's been brilliant at it. Apart from that, this team has been there, seen it, done it, won every trophy there is to win, the majority of them anyway. So really, in hindsight, we shouldn't have had too many question marks. The manager's come in and just, taken over and done a great job. Calmed everyone down, his demeanour's great. One of the big things I do think as well is their injury record. It's fantastic. And when you've got the full set of players, you can then rotate. You can then do whatever you want. Once you get injuries, you've got no option but to play the same team. Then they obviously overplay. Then they get injured, and then the whole thing just snowballs.
I know what you're saying. I think you should clarify that with major injuries, because they have missed players for large, but they have missed Alisson, they've missed Trent, they've missed Konate, they've missed Jota. Gakpo's been out the last few weeks. But you're again going to come back to me and say, well, Salah and Van Dijk, and indeed game. Yeah,
OK, well, major injuries, all those players there's no one that's been out for a long time. Alisson probably was out for the longest, but they've got a cracking goalkeeper, a reserve goalkeeper in Kelleher. But major injuries, they've managed that really well. And I don't think that's a fluke. I think when you look at all these teams around the country, there's lots of teams this year. Manchester City, Tottenham, Manchester United, just off the top of my head, that have had chronic injury problems. And that's not just luck all the time. That's why they employ sports scientists and medical teams and all the rest of it, and they train, and the diet and the nutritionists and all of these things go into it. That's all so important. The 1% differences all over the place add up, and I just think they've got it right on and off the pitch.
Yeah, I think Arne Slot deserves so much credit. I think I said at the start of the show as well, it's a fresh voice. They had Klopp for 8 years, whatever it was, and he's come in with a freshness. The other thing I might add to it as well is obviously the three of their main players, you could argue, is Trent, Van Dijk and Mo Salah, and obviously their contract situation. You sort of talk about Liverpool, you always talk about that. Now, I think that's actually played into Arne Slot's hands as well, because one thing, they're either playing for a new contract at Liverpool or they're playing for their next contract at another club, and every single week they're playing to their maximum, they're playing to their best. And I think that's actually helped them. It's galvanised them. It's brought them together. I think Van Dijk was interviewed maybe a couple of months ago. I've seen it, and he said he was asked who was the last Dutch manager who won the Premier League, and he was like questioning. He goes, "Who is it? I can't think. No one." And his eyes lit up. Van Dijk was like, "I can make history. I can be the first Dutch captain to get my hands on the Premier League." So I think all that stuff, and Arne Slot, he just, as you said, Klopp, how do you follow in Klopp? We've seen what happened with Ferguson. They dropped off. He actually went on and managed these players. Man management must be fantastic as well. But them three key players, they might be leaving, and some of them might all be leaving. I don't know, Michael. They could all leave the building perhaps, but they've given their maximum to the club. But imagine leaving with 3 trophies as well. It would be a fantastic finish.
If one of them leaves or 2 of them leaves, there is no replacement for Mo Salah. There is no replacement for Virgil van Dijk. I think they could get by without Trent Alexander-Arnold. And that's going to be the next test. And you've seen what's happened to Manchester City. A bit of an aging team, 1 or 2 big players missing, and all of a sudden it can fall down like a deck of cards. Liverpool will be looking at that and thinking, right, that can't happen to us. What's the age of our group here? Where are the great players? How are we going to replace these? Now, my opinion on the 3 is Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to leave. Virgil van Dijk is going to stay, and Mo Salah is a toss of a coin. If they can get 2 of the 3 to stay, I think it'll be a right result. And the big question mark is Mo Salah.
In terms of tonight, they've been sharing the goals around. Szoboszlai, as we heard, back-to-back Premier League goals from the weekend against Manchester City. And this one started right here, inside their own penalty area.
Yeah, and how many times have we seen that? The beauty with Liverpool, they can do it anyway. They can counter-attack with the best of them. They've got the patience and the guile to have a patient game around the edge of the box and keep possession. You were disappointed here with the defending, Shane, because Newcastle actually got enough men behind the ball.
You see Tonali in the midfield there. He looked at Szoboszlai, he's seen him once. I think he's seen him 3 or 4 times in this move. He's got him in his sights. He's got him exactly where he wants him. He looks again there, Steve. That's good midfield play, being aware where's the player. But then he even looks at this point, he should be, and Szoboszlai's good movement, don't get me wrong, good movement, Szoboszlai. Diaz does well in the wing. But look at the distance now between Tonali and Szoboszlai, and it's an easy finish in the end. But he had him the whole way from the halfway line. He's tracked him all the way back. Tonali should stay with Szoboszlai instead of going back into the back line. He should stay with his man. Then I don't think he scores the goal. And it's a good, well-worked goal from Liverpool, don't get me wrong. Diaz played really well tonight as well, by the way. And Szoboszlai, he's back-to-back games now with goals as well. But I think Eddie Howe and Newcastle will look at that defensive and think that was a poor goal to concede.
And then the second half goal from McAllister, I mean, we've seen him in this situation before. He's so calm, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's very good. And he breaks up the play, Steve. He actually starts the move. There he is, picking the ball up. And actually, the goal is quite similar, not in terms of the finish, but the way that Newcastle have got... I mean, Bruno Guimaraes is really man-to-man marking him there, tight, and all of a sudden, he drops off, gives him 2 or 3 yards. This is a good angle where we see McAllister picking up the ball. A couple of inside runs out to win. Trent goes, Szoboszlai goes, leaves Mo Salah on his own. But just look in the middle there. You've got man-on-man there, similar to the first goal, Shay, where it's all in control. All of a sudden, he backs off, give him a yard and bang.
That's the problem. Look at the many Newcastle players around the ball, Steve. There's enough players to deal with the situation. But it's just the quality, I think, of Mo Salah. It's another assist for him, of course. But he just knows exactly when to let the ball go, and a brilliant finish from McAllister. But again, Newcastle defensively will think we can't do that in the final in 18 days. We've got to get tight. We've got to stay with our men in the box. It's too easy, the 2 goals. 2 great finishes, but poor from Newcastle.
Yeah, the one good thing from Newcastle's point of view, if you're going to look at a positive for the cup final in the future, you've got some big players coming back. I mean, Isak should be back. You've got Botman should be back, and they say Joe Linton's going to be back as well. So right down the spine, 3 of their best players are coming back. So that will give Newcastle fans a lift, because on today's evidence, they'd have no chance against Liverpool.
Oh. Shots are fired.
On today's evidence.
Steady, lads, steady on.
Well, it could have been worse for Newcastle, we know that. I mean, particularly near the end, Mo Salah's ball, which could have been 3-0. I mean, how beautiful is this?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the lot, hasn't he? We used to think he was a goal scorer, but didn't really like, playing people in, and didn't really have that full repertoire. But now, look at that, outside the foot, inside the foot, he can do anything, Mo Salah. What a fantastic ball. And just unfortunate that Diaz couldn't get on the end of it, because, as Shay said, he was a bundle of energy today. Yeah. He was everywhere, real enthusiasm, winning the ball back when they're out of possession, really leading from the front, and that would have capped off a good performance. But no, Mo Salah, he didn't get on the score sheet today, which will be disappointing, but he still had a hand to play. Yeah,
and then the bringing on Gakpo, Núñez, Curtis Jones, all in reserve.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Liverpool have the strength they have in depth, the squad depth. I mean, the injuries have been good as well. They've been a few injuries, niggles and stuff, but nothing major. But the depth in the bench, Arne Slot's looking over his shoulder and he's going, bloody hell, I can bring on all these exciting players and first-team players as well. Look, even at City in recent weeks, they've got a bunch of kids on the bench, and, for example, Tottenham and stuff, their squads have diminished. Arsenal, who is the nearest challengers, so many injuries, they can't really call on a striker. Mourinho playing up front. So there's so many difficulties. He can call on 2 or 3 different strikers, Núñez and Jota and all these different players. So I think that's another reason why they're going to win the league, is because he has so much strength and depth.
OK, Newcastle go again in 18 days' time, as Shay was mentioning, in the EFL Cup final. Let's hear now from their manager. Here he is, Eddie Howe.
Eddie, what more could you have done tonight? Is there any more you can do against this team?
Yeah, we could have done better. I thought we played well tonight. I don't think it was a bad performance in any way, but I think the 2 goals we conceded, hugely disappointed with. Both very similar passes into our box, and we weren't marking tightly enough to their midfielders, and frustrating, really. I think on the other way, we had opportunities and moments. Maybe our final ball was lacking today, and we weren't clinical enough when those couple of chances did come our way.
What was the idea? Was it about your team, or was it about stopping them from playing?
No, I think it's always about our team. It's always about us implementing what we want to do. But of course, you have to try and control their big threats. I thought we did that pretty well in general, but they're a team that you can never really fully control, because on the counter-attack, they're absolutely devastating at times with the pace and movement that they have. In the main, I thought we defended pretty well.
3 defeats in 4, though, for Newcastle in the Premier League now.
Not ideal, is it? I mean, they had the similar sort of run into the last cup final 2 years ago. They dipped. It was the time they dipped leading into the final, and didn't play well against Manchester United in the final, I remember, as well. But I don't know. Eddie said there's positives to take from the game, and I think he was listening just before the break there, because he agreed with us with the goals. Defensively, for both goals, they were poor, switched off in the box, didn't follow the runners. So we'll learn from that. But again, I think Michael's right with the players coming back. I mean, Isak would better any team. He's been absolutely brilliant. A big loss before the game. I think most players and fans of Newcastle would have went like that as soon as they heard the news that Newcastle had no Isak tonight. So he'll come back. Joe Linton as well has been brilliant in that midfield, and of course Botman, and who he starts in the cup final is the next big one. But I think he has to stay positive for the final. It's been 70 years since Newcastle won anything. It's crazy to think that, but a lot of the talk before the final, I'm sure, will be Liverpool winning a treble, Liverpool You know, they're odds on to do it, they're blah, blah, blah. So Newcastle have to use that as a strength, as a motivational tool, I think, to try and get the job done. But it's going to be a big ask.
Michael and I were discussing earlier on, if Newcastle were to win that trophy, he said, would there be an open top bus? So there was an open top bus when you lost the cup.
I know, yeah. It's true. It's true. It's mad. It's a mad...
You didn't even win it. And the streets were lined, weren't they?
It's crazy. I mean, it's a crazy city for football. We both played there. I mean, they're fanatical. They really are. And if ever a bunch of fans deserve to get their hands on trophies, like, it's this bunch of fans. Most of the fans have never seen him pick up a trophy, including myself. I think Bobby Moncur was the last captain all those years ago. It's just crazy to think that, you know. But I think, again, like when this new owners come in, the new takeover and stuff, I think the first trophy is such an important one. I think it'll give everyone a huge lift, a belief that they can roll on, because I think the owners have come in, you know, with a view of actually challenging at the very top of the Premier League and challenging at the very top of Europe as well. They've got big ambitions for the football club, and I think with Eddie Howe, if I'm being honest, he's the right man to do that.
But Rafa, tonight, just how would you sum up that Liverpool performance?
I think we have been talking about the commitment of every player. At the beginning, remember when Slot was saying, maybe they will miss me, maybe not. So more or less, we have seen that the maquinaria is bien engrasada. So
you said it so much better than I did.
We have seen that they know what they have to do. So we have seen a team that is capable to press when they give the ball away, that is capable to play quick transitions, counter-attack, and is capable to defend if it's necessary. So our people were telling me that they have more clean sheets than anyone in the Premier League. That is balance, because they can attack with the numbers, and at the same time they can defend. So Newcastle United didn't have any shot on target. Why? Because they were doing a great job. So we're talking in the first half about the balance of Newcastle 4-4-2. Liverpool didn't have too many chances, but they didn't concede any chance. So when they are attacking, when they are pressing, still they are defending with numbers in a good position, and they stop the other teams to play counter-attack or have clear chances. So any game can change. But what we have seen is a team that is very consistent in terms of performing at a very good level. Very good level.
Yeah, they've got such a high level now. They almost don't need the manager, do they? You know, as long as, of course, the manager picks the sides, but they know what jobs that they need to do. And anybody who comes on the pitch, whether Curtis Jones starts, whether Gakpo starts, they will put in those type of performances. They are that good at the moment. Endo comes on, always has an impact. Darwin Núñez at times comes on, has an impact. So they can rely on now 15, 16, 17 players. And as soon as anybody leaves the pitch and somebody enters the pitch, the intensity level doesn't drop. It rises, it goes again. And when you have this level of performance that you can trust every single week, if they go out and do that performance again, they'll get a result. And that's what they're showing at the moment. So they're almost 1-0 up before they come out on the pitch. They're that confident, and the fans are that confident in them.
Is that just the right blend of experience through the side, that title winning?
Possibly. And the new signings that came into the club, the recent new signings, which was last year really, Slobberslai, McAllister, Gravenberch, Endo, those type of players have all improved. And they're all a year more experienced. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, a year more experienced. So you can rely on them more. A lot of the youngsters, the Kwanzas, the Conor Bradleys, they've come into the team and always done a job. So when you've got 20 players, and people say they're fortunate about injuries, to a certain extent they are, but Arne Slot brought a sports scientist with him who he trusts implicitly brought him with him, Ruben, and he's done a wonderful job. So it's not luck as well. He makes 5 substitutes every single game. He makes sure he rotates his team, so he knows what he's doing, and he's helping the players out as much as he can, because their schedule is hard and arduous.
Rafa, take us through how they opened the scoring. It was two...
Let me 1 second, sorry, because Steve made a good point. The rotation of the players.
It happens now and again, Rafa, don't worry about it.
When you have a manager that is doing a job, when you have a staff that they analyse things, and I have the experience when you have to compete in different competitions at the maximum level. Normally you win trophies in the last 10 games, is what they say. So then if you can rotate your players and everybody's coming and making something, a job, giving something to the team, then you can rely on him for the next game, and then still you can perform. So the winning teams are not teams in modern football with 15, 16 players. They have 20 players, some young players come in and they have a contribution. So that is what they are doing at the moment.
Keeping everybody happy.
Yeah, it's not because that is not easy. So it's easy to say, but it's easy when you are winning. Because if not, The people not involved will be, but because you are winning, you can change this one, and everybody's happy because they know what he said. I like Sammy in Spanish. The desire to win trophies. What McAllister was saying, that is the main thing. Everybody knows that they can be part of this winning team, and that is the winning mentality that you need.
And that's infectious, I imagine, as well.
It's very positive for everyone. But you say about the fans, the staff, everybody has the belief we can win trophies, and everybody is pushing and making a contribution.
It certainly looks like Dominic Szoboszlai has the belief as well. He's a man in form. Just take us through how he opened the scoring for Liverpool tonight.
So I think the way that they play, so we have seen, you see, they regain the ball, and it's a quick transition, but it's not just, sometimes it's the pace that they use when they go. You can go forward, but you see still he's running, and then they go forward, and now you see 4 players, you see a lot of players of Newcastle United, but the movement is dropping off a little bit, has the space, so that is a clever movement. It's more a movement of a striker than a midfielder, but he did really well.
Do you think Nick Pope has to do a bit better there, Maka, or was that unfair?
Yeah, I think it's slightly unfair, only because it goes through Tonali and Dan Burns' legs. So he is slightly unsighted right up until he's on the 6-yard box, Dan Burn. You see here, this is a better angle. He's unsighted when he hits the ball. He sees it there. He's down. He's a big, tall goalkeeper. It's probably hard for him to get down and get it away at seeing it such late. But the second goal was similar. You know, they were all backing off. They were all back in defence. They had numbers back. They outnumbered Liverpool in defence, but still conceded, and they just didn't learn. They defended well. They got behind the ball, which was great. But you see here, they lose the ball. Liverpool are off again. It's McAllister off again. He starts to move. Szoboszlai's running forward. Trent's gone. You see how many red shirts in the box. But look at all the black and white shirts. They all get back. Yet McAllister's in glorious isolation when he receives the ball.
It's a principle in defence. So you have to defend the space, but the main thing, you have to defend the man. So then you have to find this balance between defending the space and the man. So a number of players, Liverpool getting into the box, when they were winning still with a lot of players, that is another positive.
Before Salah gives him the ball, before Salah chops back onto his left foot, Tonali is touched tight with Alexis McAllister. And as soon as Mo goes back onto his right foot, it's not Tonali, it's Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah. And as soon as he chops back onto his right foot, Guimaraes drops towards the goal as if we need to protect the goal. And he leaves McAllister. And of course, Salah in the form he is in, he just puts it on a play for him, and it was all about the finish, and the Argentinian smashes it into the net.
Is he a bit of an unsung hero, do you think, in that team, McAllister?
Yeah.
I know everyone respects him and rates him highly. I just feel like we talk a lot about the other players in that team.
Yes, and I think that's normal, to be honest. The goal scorers get the credit, and Gakpo's had a great season. Mo's been off the charts, hasn't he? Darwin scored late goals. Diaz has chopped in, and Jota. So they will dominate because they will score the goals. Unfortunately, the goalkeeper or Van Dijk or the 3 in midfield, that triangle in midfield has been phenomenal. Curtis Jones, when he's coming, has been phenomenal. But yeah, that'll always happen, unfortunately. There's always maybe that number 6, that number 8 role, which just doesn't get highlighted as much as the goal scorers. It's as simple as it's always been like that, unfortunately.
The number 6 in England is the number 5 in South America.
South America, yeah.
And it's crucial. It's crucial to give balance to the team. You were talking about Tonali at the beginning, the protection of the centre backs. That is a crucial role, to have a player that can be there, can be more or less good on the ball. You just give the ball easily to one or the other one, but especially defend, and then give the defenders confidence, and also confidence to the offensive players to go forward, because he will be there all the time.
People appreciate that role now, of course. Yeah. Makelele had it, and it was
everybody
incredible
wants
football.
one.
And now Rodri's got the Ballon d'Or, so we all appreciate that role, but we all also have to accept that the goal scorers, the people who assist, the ones who are creative, who do something nice on the eye, will always get the publicity. Excuse me.
But we are talking Mascherano here.
Yeah, Mascherano.
Didi Hamann. So even Xabi Alonso, that was a different kind of midfielder. But now you have a player here that Gravenberch is coming and is working so hard in this area that he's giving confidence and freedom to the others, and McAllister is doing the same. So these players are crucial for coaches. And as you say, the strikers, they get the credit, but these players, they give confidence to the rest of the team.
Yeah, and they have that blend. They all complement each other so well. Yeah, Alexander Isak with a bit of a groin injury. We'll touch on that cup final in a moment. He said there's a long way to go. 10 games, they are 13 clear, so surely the champions-elect now. But he's spoken about his players staying calm, Rafa. How much do you think that comes from the manager?
I'm sure that a lot of this mentality, this approach is coming from the manager. So when you have experience, you say, listen, that is what we have to do. And the players, they listen to you. So it's like when you have your daughter and they don't listen to you, they listen to the teacher. So that is the same. So then they will listen to the manager. They will not listen maybe someone close to them, but the manager, yes. So it's like the professional say, you have to do this. And they learn from that. So he has the right mentality. And the players, they have experience. You said before, no? Players with the quality that they have been in these situations in the past, they have experience. But the young players, these players that they are not playing, they are trying to be part because everybody has the same message. So everybody follow the same idea and the same belief that they can win trophies.
Yeah, Liverpool have got players in their ranks at the moment that have won every trophy around, haven't they? The spine of the team, the keeper, Virgil van Dijk, even Mo Salah, the leaders, they're the ones with big voices. They might necessarily be shouters and screamers, Mo's certainly not. But people look up to them because their level of performance is always very, very high.
And
so
they're
consistent with it. So they bring everybody else with them. So the new players who have only just come into the team, the young inexperienced players who are into the side, they look at those people and follow them. And they're bringing them up to such a level now in terms of recovery, in terms of how they deal with themselves off the pitch, because they all know that winning trophies is the most important thing and they're well on the way to doing it.
He also said, Rafa, just how much he liked their work rate tonight, and that was something you picked up on watching the game. What did you think of their mentality out there?
I was taking notes of when he was talking about the slow slide because I was watching AC Milan against Liverpool in Milan and I liked the movement. So then you can see all the time, every player, everyone. So now they are under pressure. So you see Diaz following the player, going on the floor and regaining. You are talking about a winger and a very offensive player. And then here the same. As soon as they can, they press and then quick transition, they go forward. But you see the number of players. That is desired is balance also in attack, not just in defense. Now they cannot control the game. What they do is they drop off and you see all the players, everybody behind the ball defending. That is the difference between other teams. There are teams that they have managed, they say, this is my style and I will not change. And they can be even relegated. This manager is saying, we need to drop off, we drop off. We need to play long, we play long. So if you have players that they can run behind defenders, if you have players that they can defend crosses, so you have players that they will do whatever they have to do to win. Because as you say, to win trophies or to win games is the main thing. And this team is because of the manager, it's because of the experience, it's because of the mentality. They are capable to defend, they are capable to play counter-attack, and they are capable to sustain the attack. He was unhappy because they were not better on the ball than in other games. So that means sustain the attack when you have more possession and you are better than the other team. So they have this balance, and they are good in so many things that they have this chance to win more trophies, not just one or two.
Yeah.
You can't replace him like Ronaldo when he was leaving teams. You know, people were saying, well, you can never replace him. No, you can't. But you have to find another way of scoring goals then. And Liverpool will just have to adapt. And it might be that they might not be as attractive without Salah, they probably won't be, but it doesn't say they won't be as functional, that they won't go in and win things, and they can't continue to be successful without him. But if you start going around looking to say, right, we've got to find the next Mo Salah, forget it, Richard. Just doesn't happen. Certainly not at a young age anyway.
Liverpool have been good at that, Andy, as well. I think you just said there, down the history of the football club, Keegan, everyone was like, you can't replace him. Well, they didn't really, but they brought in Dalglish, different kind of player, as successful, probably went on, well, better. And then, you go through the ages, Rush leaves, Fowler turns up, okay, it was homegrown talent that came through, and it was a good spell for the academy at Liverpool there. The School of Excellence brought some really good players through. But then Fowler goes and Owen comes in, you lose Torres, and then Suarez comes in and has an unbelievable season. You lose Suarez, and then all of a sudden the dynamics change. Like you just said, that Klopp brings a different dynamic. He goes three up top. You could argue the Rush, Beardsley, Aldridge, but they never really were a three. It was a two, wasn't it?
Well, it was Barnes.
Barnes,
Aldridge,
and Beasley. Sorry. So you just adapt in different ways, and then along comes Mane, Salah and Firmino, and like Andy said, slot might just, the contingency plan might be, okay, well, we play 2 up top next season, we play an extra man in midfield, and we go this way and we try it and we see what we can do. But players will be on the radar. They won't have sat still, and they certainly won't have gone, he's going to sign, so that's it. They know.
Could you see him playing for anybody else in England, anywhere else?
No.
No chance.
He wouldn't want to do that. He wouldn't want to do that.
No chance of that.
Listen, Liverpool.
Sure?
Liverpool have no say in it.
That's what I mean.
So they can't, they can't orchestrate what goes on. But Mo Salah's his legacy. He won't spoil his legacy.
Would you?
Well, yes.
Coming up for 33, would you really want to tarnish the legacy to go and play somewhere else for a year, maybe 2?
Well, if I'm leaving Liverpool and they haven't done much to make their desire known to keep me, and I've got an offer on the table of 450 grand a week